Well, joining us today exclusively on Phoenix TV is Phoenix forward Adam Walker. Adam, welcome as always to Phoenix TV.
Thank you, Andy.
Now, Adam, we come into a massive game for the Phoenix here on Sunday. The Belfast Giants, the visitors. It's a double-edged sword. Not only is it the final home league game of the season, but it's also the first leg of the Knockout Cup final. It's Mother's Day and a chance, hopefully, for the Phoenix to get some revenge for that disappointment in the Challenge Cup. What's the mood in the camp going into the game?
I think it's pretty positive. Obviously, the guys are disappointed from Tuesday's loss, and I think it could have gone either way. So the guys are going to take the loss of Tuesday into this Sunday's game, and hopefully we can get some revenge.
Now, I think a lot of people who went to Belfast on Tuesday and a lot of people who watched it on the internet were obviously disappointed that the Phoenix didn't get the result, and it wasn't that we didn't have our chances either, particularly in that third period when we had a number of chances early on, but we just got caught out with that sucker punch at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, sometimes the final is a game of chances, and the team who's going to take more chances is obviously going on to win it. So we had a few chances in the third, but I felt we played pretty well, and we sucked up a lot of pressure in the first, even though we came in 2-0 down. And we were able to, sort of counter-attack that, and unfortunately we just couldn't finish it off in the third. And then, like you say, that sucker punch just sort of killed it off.
Then, of course, we came back home on Thursday and we played Hull in a game that was vital for the Stingrays more so than it was for ourselves. And you were back on the score sheet, a couple of goals in that game. That must have been pleasing personally. Yeah,
it was good. I always like to score. I consider myself as a sort of goal scorer, so so I'm always pleased and I'm always happy to score goals. So to get two was nice, and to score another two in the shootout was nice as well.
Exactly, and that's been a feature this year. Whenever the Phoenix have been involved in a penalty shootout, Tony's had absolute faith in you to go out there and do the business in the one-on-one situation. Is it a situation that you actually feel any pressure in?
Definitely, it's always something. I always get really nervous. Obviously, at the end of the game, then Tony chooses the guys who are going to take the shootout, and usually I'm in there most of the time. And when I look up at the clock with a minute to go, I start to get a little bit nervous and think if it's going to go. And then obviously right at the start you get nervous, but I think as soon as you step out there and you take the puck, then it's the nerves go, and then you just do what you do best.
And of course, there's a very huge, in my opinion, backhanded compliment there that Tony gets you to take the first one, and he's got Bruce and David, as it was on Thursday, take the second and third, but he gives you the first one.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think hopefully I like to take them just so it's just to get things going, and I don't think there's much pressure as the first one as there is in the second and third, because those can be the deciding ones in the first round. So to me, I guess it relaxes me a little bit. So if the pressures come on again, then I can handle it a little more easier.
It's funny to hear you say that. I would have thought the pressure was on the first one to actually get us on the board, but we won't go into it, never mind. Last night, of course, the Phoenix were on the road again for yet another game in this never-ending schedule of ours, away in Edinburgh, in not quite your hometown, but not too far away. Did you have many family there watching the game last night?
Yeah, I had mum and dad there, and I think my brother came along, and I had one of my friends along too, so it was nice to see them at the end of the game. You don't get a lot of chances to go home and see them, so it was nice to see them. But hopefully in a couple of weeks, then or whenever when the season finishes, I'll find some time to go home and see them again.
And obviously it was a defeat last night, but it was a game really that was all about Edinburgh last night. They were desperate to get to the post-season playoffs, and the victory assured them of it. But we didn't go in there just to lie down, did we?
No. It would be unfair on Hull to say that we went in there not to try just to give Edinburgh the points so they can qualify. We know that they were close, and Hull I don't think Hull have been that close before. So we wanted to give both teams a fair chance. So we went in there with the thought that to not to lose the game, but to give it our best shot, but also just to avoid injuries at the same time, because we want everybody ready for today's game against Belfast.
Absolutely. Today's game in the Knockout Cup and indeed the league has to be the overriding factor for the Phoenix now, because we've already talked about losing the Challenge Cup final to the Giants. We don't want to do the same again. We want to try and get out and take more than a one-goal lead this time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And this club it's been around for for 3 years now. Well, the new Phoenix anyway, and we haven't sort of been in this situation before. So it'd be nice for the fans. I think the fans deserve it. I think Neil deserves it, and the guys in the dressing room have worked really hard this year, so they deserve to win a trophy. So that's what we want to do for the fans and Neil, and also for ourselves.
Now, the other thing that came out of Saturday's results, of course, with Hull losing at home to Cardiff, it means now that the Phoenix in the playoffs will face either Nottingham or Coventry. Any personal preference there?
No, I don't think so. I think the games between us and Nottingham have been really close this year. I think they've always been kind of one-goal games, maybe by the odd exception of a game, and it's the same with Coventry. They've been really close. So, as far as we're concerned, we'll take anybody. We're not too fussed who we play against. But we know we've got a good team. We know we can make the semi-finals if we play well. So we'll just take it as it comes.
Now, looking back at yourself on the ice, and you've played alongside Brett Cloutier for most of the season. How good is it playing with a big guy like Brett?
It's interesting. There's never a dull moment playing with Brett. But yeah, it's good. He brings a lot to the table, and when he's on his game, then he can be a really effective player. So it makes my job a bit easier when he's out there, especially with Lucas as well. Like the two big guys, so they can create a lot of space. And I think we've been quite effective as a line when we've been together. So I enjoy playing with them, and it's certainly not boring in any way at all.
Everybody looks at Brett and thinks that he's just a great big hulking gorilla who's going to go around and thumping people. But when you look at his penalty numbers this year, he's nowhere near up in the leading penalty takers. He really does seem to have concentrated on his game more this season. Yeah,
I think so. I think that's. I mean, we all knew he could play. When he came here, we all saw that. The first year that he arrived, that he could play. I think when he was in Sheffield, everybody thought of him as this big goon who was useless. But really, when you get to see him, under your own sort of team, you realise that he can play as well. He's not just about standing up for his teammates. He can play. So I think he's been quite effective this year, and I think he doesn't have to. We've got plenty of guys in our team who can stand up and stand up for themselves, like Kyle and Alex, and there's a few other guys who can do it too. So I don't think he's really been. He's had to do that because we have the guys who can do that, so it allows him to focus on his game a bit more.
Absolutely, and like you said, working alongside Lucas Burnett as well, those are two big guys, and they do seem to create a lot of space for you, and you do seem to be, not as a third line, so to speak, it's nothing like a grind line, is it? It is a line that is potent on offence.
Yeah, the good thing is Lucas is a centreman as well as myself, so we have that ability to play defence and fill each other's gaps, and Brett can be good defensively as well. Taking nothing away from him, he can be good defensively. He's played on the penalty kill before, so we have a really good defensive line. So if we have to go out there and just wear down an opposition, we can do that. But if we have to go out there and score a few goals, we can do that as well, because I think we're all quite talented defensively too.
Now today, as we've mentioned a couple of times, it's Belfast again, and we've seen an awful lot of Belfast this year. They are a very strong offensive team, but we've always been, apart from the one game when they ran amok with us here in the third period, every other game has been very close with Belfast this year. What is it about them? We know they're offensively loaded, but they must have some weaknesses as well that we look to exploit.
Yeah, I think, the thing with Belfast is they are very talented defensively, and we have to play a really defensive game to stop them from scoring. And the weaknesses that they have is that because they're so offensive minded, then they can leave gaps in defence, and all of their defensemen, I think apart from maybe one, is very talented defensively. So they can leave gaps open. They like to join the rush, and that's where we can counter attack. So really that's kind of been what our game is, to sort of be really, really strong defensively, and then when they leave that gap open, then we can exploit that and then get our chances from there.
Well, let's hope that's the way it goes tonight. They had a tough game in Coventry last night. We had the long road trip to Edinburgh, but all in all, it is set up for what should be another cracking game here in the Ice Dome tonight.
Yeah, it should be. The games to Belfast are always tight, like you say, and there's a lot of offence produced, and usually tends to be a lot of goals as well. So hopefully it will be exciting for the fans and the players.
And of course it's Mother's Day, so any particular message for Mum?
No, I just got off the phone with her actually, so yeah, I wish her a happy Mother's Day, and I gave her a card last night and some flowers, so she should be pleased with that.
Good stuff. Maybe you could top it off with a goal for her tonight.
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay, Adam Walker, number 29 for the Manchester Phoenix. Many thanks for joining us exclusively on Phoenix TV.
Thanks, Andy.